You think you know air guns. You have seen the $10 pump pistols at the gas station. You have watched your uncle plink cans with a beat-up Springer in the backyard. You have already made up your mind. Here is what you have never seen. A rifle running fully automatic on compressed air. 16 rounds of .30 caliber lead down range before your brain registers the first shot fired. A regulated bullpup generating the same energy as a .44 Magnum on air. A precision platform that is putting groups through the same hole at 100 yards, tunable to the grain weight of the projectile. That is Hatsan in 2026, and we are counting down the 7 best they have ever built. The self-contained King Rank 7 Hatsan Mod 65 combo. Now before you scroll past this one, hear me out. Because while everyone else is chasing carbon fiber bottles and 300 BR fill pressures, this rifle does something none of those fancy PCPs can do. It fills itself. No SEPA tank, no 12-volt compressor, no dive shop, no logistics chain. Break the barrel, cock it, done. That is a level of self-reliance that every prepper, every remote property hunter, and every traditionalist in this hobby needs to respect. Under the hood, the Mod 65 runs Hatsan's proprietary Vortex gas piston system. Forget the old coiled steel spring that used to torque the rifle sideways and beat scopes to death. The Vortex swaps that out for a sealed nitrogen cylinder. When you crack the barrel open, you compress nitrogen gas instead of a spring. The result is a dramatically smoother cocking stroke, zero spring torque, and a power plant that can sit cocked in a hunting blind for hours without losing a single foot-pound of energy. The real enemy of break barrel accuracy has always been recoil, not push, whiplash. The piston slams forward and the rifle snaps like a wet towel. Hatsan addresses this with the SAS shock absorber system, which isolates the action from the stock itself. It absorbs that vibrational spike before it reaches the shooter or the scope. The included 3x9x32 Optima glass actually survives long-term use on this rifle, which is genuinely rare in the break barrel world. Caliber-wise, the Mod 65 throws 25 cal lead pellets at a stable 700 feet per second, generating 23 to 24 foot-pounds of energy. That is lethal on squirrels, rabbits, and invasive pest birds out of 40 yards with clean shot placement. Light alloy pellets in 177 can hit 1,300 feet per second, but push past the sound barrier and your groups open up like a shotgun pattern. Stick to heavy lead in 25 cal and this rifle delivers. Street price sits right around $250, which makes it the most accessible entry point on this entire list. The deal breaker, pure and simple, it is an air hog. Every single shot burns through your entire power reservoir, and you start from zero again. No shot count, no strings, one shot, one cock. If your target moves and you need a fast follow-up, you are already behind. For pest control scenarios where a missed first shot sends a flock of starlings into the next county, that limitation costs you. But for what it is, a completely self-contained, no infrastructure needed, walnut-stocked hunting rifle, the Mod 65 is king of its lane. The Urban Ghost Rank 6 Hatsan Jet Regulated Quiet Energy. Picture this. Your neighbor is 30 feet away trimming his hedge. You have got a rat problem under the shed, and you need to neutralize it right now, quietly, cleanly, without a single head turning in your direction. This is the rifle for that exact moment. The Jet Arky is not just a pistol. It is not just a carbine. It is both, and it switches between them in seconds flat. Running without the stock, you are holding a 15-inch, 2.4-pound precision handgun. Clip the included synthetic buttstock on, and it stretches to 24.6 inches and hits 3.4 pounds. Either way, it disappears into a standard day pack and nobody asks questions. Here is the engineering that makes this thing genuinely impressive. Most micro PCPs choke on shot count because there is simply no room under that short barrel for meaningful air storage. Hatsan solved it by running dual 40cc cylinders side by side, 80 total cc of storage, filling to 250 BR. But the internal regulator steps that pressure all the way down to 125 BAR at the valve. That aggressive regulation is the secret weapon. It means every single one of the 42 shots hits with identical pressure behind it. Shot 1 and shot 42 land in the same hole. Zero velocity creep, zero drift. Pushing 22 cal pellets at 700 feet per second generates 50 foot-pounds of energy. Modest on paper, but 15 foot-pounds placed precisely behind a rodent's ear at 30 yards is a clean, ethical dispatch every time. And with Hatsan's quiet energy, fully shrouded barrel and integrated sound moderator, stripping away the turbulent air at the muzzle, the acoustic signature drops to near silent levels. Just the hammer strike and the soft thud of impact. The deal breaker here is pure financial reality. 42 shots per fill sounds reasonable until you realize that 80 cc of storage refills fast and drains just as fast. For extended pest control sessions on a large property, you are constantly reaching for the hand pump or the compressor. The operational rhythm breaks down quickly when you are stopping every 42 shots to refill a tiny twin-cylinder setup. But inside city limits, inside a backyard, inside a storage unit overrun with pests, nothing on this list touches it. The Jet RK is the ghost of the airgun world, silent, invisible, and precise. The tactical regulated Sovereign Rank 5 Hatsan Zylox RG. Sound off below if you have ever lost a pest shot because you were fumbling with a rear bolt while the target was already moving. Because that is exactly the problem the Zylox RG was engineered to eliminate. This is Hatsan's new for 2026 tactical carbine, and it brings something to the mid-tier market that used to cost twice the price. A biathlon-style side lever action paired with a precision air regulator. That combination changes everything about how fast you can work this rifle. Here is why the side lever matters mechanically. A traditional rear pull bolt forces you to break your cheek weld, pull your shooting hand backward, rotate, and re-establish your position before the next shot. Every one of those movements costs you target acquisition time. The Zylox RG's side lever cycles with 2 fingers, index and middle, while the rifle stays planted in your shoulder pocket and your eye stays locked behind the glass. Cycle time drops dramatically. Follow-up shots tighten up. And in a pest control scenario where a second target appears the instant the first one drops, that speed is the difference between a double and a miss. The regulator on the RG variant is the other half of this story. A 215cc cylinder fills to 250 BAR and feeds a precision regulator that delivers 55 optimal shots at consistent velocity. Not 55 total shots. 55 shots where the pellet hits exactly where you aimed. The 23-inch German steel barrel, precision rifled and choked, squeezes every bit of efficiency out of that regulated air. The result is 910 feet per second in 22 cal, generating 27 foot-pounds of energy, enough to cleanly dispatch pest species and small game out to 50 yards with flat, predictable trajectory. Ergonomics on this platform are genuinely modern. The telescoping stock adjusts the overall length between 42 and 45 inches. Upper receiver is rigid steel for heavy optic support. Lower receiver runs lightweight synthetic to keep the bare gun weight at 7.4 pounds. The combo 11mm dovetail and 22mm weaver rail up top means whatever glass you already own, it mounts. And here is the tease before we keep climbing. This is a solid, fast, regulated carbine. But wait until you see the absolute slug-slinging semi-automatic monster sitting at number 1 on this list. The Zylox RG cannot touch it for raw mechanical innovation. The deal breaker? The cylinder. 215cc is a relatively modest reservoir. At 55 regulated shots, you are already reaching for a refill. Operators running extended sessions, think a full morning of field target competition or a long pest control sweep, will be topping off more frequently than they would like. The efficiency is there. The shot count ceiling is not. For the tactical shooter who wants modern ergonomics, regulated consistency, and biathlon speed cycling without breaking the bank, the Zylox RG earns its spot. The Semi-Auto Fluid Dynamics Master Rank 4 Hatsan Repex, stepping up into the serious hunting rigs now. And this one earns its place by solving a problem that has plagued airgun engineers for decades. How do you build a true semi-automatic PCP? One that cycles itself, indexes its own magazine, and resets its own sear without bleeding off so much air that the projectile exits the barrel with the energy of a tired sneeze. Hatsan's answer is the Repex, and it is a genuinely elegant solution. Here is the mechanical reality of semi-auto pneumatics. There is no combustion happening inside an airgun. No hot expanding gas to slam a bolt carrier backward. Instead, the Repex uses a precision-tuned gas bleed action. It siphons off a calculated fraction of the firing pressure, redirects it internally, and uses that bled air to push the hammer back, index the rotary magazine, and reset the sear. All of that happens in the fraction of a second between trigger pull and follow-up shot. The engineering challenge is keeping that bleed percentage small enough that the primary projectile still exits with meaningful energy. Hatsan has refined this gas bleed system to the point where the Repex achieves 875 feet per second in 22 cal and 775 feet per second in 25 cal. Numbers that hold up against many non-automatic competitors. Now consider what that semi-auto action is packaged inside. 31.5 to 33.9 inches overall, 5 pounds bare weight, a 165cc cylinder running 250 BR feeding a 19-inch precision rifled and choked barrel, 12-shot magazine in 22 cal, 10-shot in 25, and up to 60 effective shots at optimal velocity per fill. A remarkable efficiency figure for a platform actively consuming air to cycle itself. Highly tunable and precise, this rifle was clearly designed for operators moving fast through dense brush, where shouldering a longer platform is simply not possible. The telescoping AR-style stock collapses the profile dramatically. Under the canopy of a hedgerow, in the tight confines of a barn, through the broken terrain of a creek bottom, the Repex maneuvers where full-size hunting rigs get hung up on branches and fence posts. The deal breaker, build aesthetics. For a rifle sitting at its price point, the polymer furniture on the Repex feels noticeably utilitarian. The stock flex under a firm cheek weld is enough to make precision-minded shooters uncomfortable. Nothing structurally concerning, but compared to the rigid steel upper of the Zylox RG or the walnut craftsmanship of the Mod 65, the Repex chassis communicates budget in ways the internal engineering absolutely does not deserve. Entering the elite tier now. And the next two platforms are where Hatsan stops competing with the mid-market and starts threatening the boutique European names. The Big Bore King Rank 3, Hatsan PileDriver, closer to the crown now. And this platform does not belong in the same conversation as pellet rifles. It barely belongs in the same conversation as some centerfire pistol cartridges. Because what Hatsan built here is not an air rifle in the traditional sense. It is a pneumatic sledgehammer disguised as a bullpup. And when you understand the engineering behind it, the numbers stop being impressive and start being almost disturbing. Every other rifle on this list uses a precision regulator to meter air carefully, delivering consistent, controlled shots over a long string. The PileDriver throws that philosophy completely out the window. It runs a fixed 480cc reservoir at 300 BIR, and instead of regulating the pressure down, it routes it through the largest valve and transfer port architecture Hatsan has ever engineered. The entire design priority is maximum flow rate. Get as much air behind that projectile as physically possible, as fast as physically possible, in the single instant the valve cracks open. Efficiency is irrelevant. Terminal effect is everything. The result of that engineering philosophy is a number that does not sound real when you first read it. 800 plus foot-pounds of energy. In 45 cal, the PileDriver launches a 520 grain slug between 780 and 1100 feet per second. In 50 cal, it pushes a 700 grain mass at up to 1000 feet per second. To give that number real-world context, 800 foot-pounds is energetically comparable to a 44 Magnum or a 454 Castle firearm load on compressed air alone. Hatsan adopted a bullpup configurations specifically because of this brute force architecture. The action, breech, and heavy valving sit far behind the trigger group, resting directly against the shooter's shoulder. That placement collapses the overall length dramatically while preserving every inch of barrel the expanding air needs to fully act on the projectile. Inside a hunting blind, navigating thick timber, setting up on a stationary hog, the PileDriver maneuvers where a conventional layout would be impossible. Once broken in, and the field reports are consistent on this, it becomes an absolute tack driver on heavy bipods. Users describe a roughly 20-shot break-in window before the heavy valve seats perfectly and groups tighten dramatically. The deal breaker is pure ergonomics. That cocking handle requires serious physical force. The massive hammer spring necessary to crack open a firing valve held shut by 300 BR of internal pressure does not yield easily. For younger shooters, smaller framed hunters, or anyone managing a hand or wrist injury, repeated cocking cycles on a full-day hunt will wear you down fast. Add the considerable rifle weight on top of that, and the PileDriver demands a physically capable operator to use it effectively in the field. But for the hunter chasing wild hogs, large deer, or any heavy terrestrial game previously considered off-limits to airgun hunters, nothing below this rank even enters the conversation. The Precision Sovereign Rank 2 Hatsan Factor Sniper Long, entering the elite tier of everything Hatsan has ever built. And this platform is where compressed air stops being a blunt instrument and becomes a precision surgical tool. If the PileDriver is a sledgehammer, the Factor Sniper Long is a scalpel, where that big bore beast throws everything it has into a single devastating shot. This rifle is engineered around one obsessive, uncompromising goal: placing every single projectile through the exact same hole, at extreme distance, shot after shot after shot, with microscopic velocity deviation between them. That goal demands a specific kind of architecture, and Hatsan delivered it in 3 layers. Layer 1 is the regulator. Fully externally adjustable, it locks a precise, constant pressure against the firing valve, regardless of what remains in the 700cc carbon fiber bottle above it. Every shot fires against identical resistance, no bell curve, no velocity drift as the bottle drains. The extreme spread across a full shot string collapses to near zero. Layer 2 is the plenum. Situated between the regulator and the firing valve, the 100cc pre-air chamber stores a massive volume of already regulated air immediately behind the valve. When the trigger breaks, that entire 100cc reservoir dumps instantaneously. No waiting for gas to trickle through the regulator's narrow strictures under pressure. For heavy, high ballistic coefficient solid slugs that require a massive initial burst of pressure to overcome resting inertia and engage the rifling cleanly, that instant high-volume surge is not optional. It is mandatory. Layer 3 is the tuning triad. Externally adjustable hammer preload controls the strike force against the valve. The regulator controls the pressure behind the valve. The 3-level adjustable transfer port controls the volume of airflow directed into the barrel. Dial all 3 into harmonic balance for a specific projectile weight and brand. And the Factor Sniper Long stops shooting groups and starts shooting single ragged holes. The ballistic output of this system is staggering for a regulated platform. In 35 cal, the rifle achieves 970 feet per second for 169 foot-pounds of energy. The 30 cal pushes 940 feet per second for 157 foot-pounds. Even the 22 cal variant, the smallest chambering, produces 1,050 feet per second and 81 foot-pounds. That is not pellet rifle territory. That is medium game hunting territory, at distances exceeding 100 yards, from a fully regulated micro-tunable platform. The 30-inch quiet energy, fully shrouded barrel allows the complete combustion of every cubic centimeter of that regulated air charge before the projectile exits the muzzle. Nothing wasted, every foot-pound accounted for. The Quattro 2-stage adjustable match trigger. Blade adjustable both vertically and angularly to match the exact curvature of the shooter's index finger, delivers a flawless surprise break that benchrest competitors spend thousands chasing. The MSR-compatible chassis means the pistol grip and buttstock swap directly with standard AR-15 components. The ergonomic fit becomes entirely bespoke to the shooter's frame without sending anything to a gunsmith. The deal breaker, patience. The Factor Sniper Long rewards shooters who understand pressure nodes, velocity standard deviations, and projectile seating depth. For the operator who simply wants to fill it and shoot it straight out of the box, the learning curve on 3 independent tuning variables is genuinely steep. The damage to your wallet is also significant. Street price on the Factor Sniper Long sits in the neighborhood of $900 to $1,000 depending on caliber, which is serious money for a platform that demands additional investment in quality glass and premium slugs before it truly sings. But for the precision-minded hunter or competition shooter willing to put in that tuning work, the Factor Sniper Long is the closest thing to a custom benchrest rifle that a production airgun has ever produced. And yet, it is still not number 1. The Full Auto King Crown Jewel Rank 1 Hatsan Blitz 777. Here is the truth nobody in the airgun world wants to admit out loud. Building a precise, regulated single-shot rifle is hard. Building a reliable semi-automatic is harder. But building a mechanically sound, thermodynamically stable, fully automatic pneumatic rifle, one that empties a magazine in a fraction of a second without freezing its own internals, without dropping velocity off a cliff, without shaking itself apart, that is on an entirely different engineering planet. And in 2026, Hatsan is the only manufacturer on Earth doing it at this level. The Factor Sniper Long at Rank 2 is a masterpiece of precision regulation. Its 3-layer tuning architecture, its 100cc plenum, its match-grade trigger, all of it is extraordinary. But strip away the precision variables and the Factor Sniper Long is still fundamentally doing what every bolt-action PCP does. It shoots 1 round, you cycle, you shoot another. The PileDriver at Rank 3 delivers 800+ foot-pounds of raw kinetic destruction that makes center-fire pistol cartridges nervous. But it is a single-shot bullpup with a cocking effort that will fatigue a healthy adult on a long hunt. The Blitz 777 does something neither of those platforms can even attempt. It shoots again, immediately and again and again. 16 rounds of 30 cal lead hitting the same target zone in on the time it takes you to exhale. Here is the engineering problem that destroyed every previous attempt at full auto pneumatics. Thermodynamics. Rapid sustained air expansion generates a Joule-Thomson cooling effect. In lesser systems, that temperature drop freezes the polyurethane O-ring solid, vents pressure catastrophically, and shifts the point of impact as metallic components contract under thermal stress. The faster you shoot, the colder the internals get. The colder they get, the more erratic the cycling becomes. Full auto pneumatics have historically been a death spiral of mechanical failure. Hatsan's solution is almost brutally simple in concept, but staggering in execution. 700 cc of carbon fiber storage capacity at 300 BR, 4,351 psi of reserve pressure. That is the largest reservoir on this entire list, matched only by the Factor Sniper Long. But where the Factor uses that massive bottle to feed a precision regulator for surgical shot-by-shot consistency, the Blitz 777 uses it as a thermodynamic and pneumatic fortress wall. The sheer volume and pressure buffer is so immense that even during sustained high cyclic rate magazine dumps, the ambient internal pressure never drops low enough to trigger the thermal collapse that kills lesser full auto systems. The O-rings stay seated, the valve cycles consistently, the bolt indexes cleanly, every single time. The mechanical sear trip cycling mechanism is the second pillar of this rifle's supremacy. Some competing high-end platforms use electronically actuated solenoids, battery-dependent, environmentally sensitive, fragile in extreme cold or wet conditions. The Blitz 777 runs a purely mechanical sear. No batteries, no circuit boards, no electronic failure modes in austere hunting environments. The tactile feedback of a mechanical sear trip tells the shooter exactly what is happening in the action. Something electronic triggers fundamentally cannot replicate. The selective fire capability is what truly separates it from everything else on this list. Full auto mode empties a 16-round 30 cal magazine in a fraction of a second, delivering 59 foot-pounds per shot across that entire string. Semi-auto mode gives you the precision of a conventional repeater when the situation demands discipline over volume. No other platform on this list offers that operational range. The Zylox RG gives you speed through a side lever, but still demands a manual cycle between shots. The Repex gives you semi-auto gas bleed cycling in a compact chassis. Neither one touches the Blitz 777 for sheer volume of fire. 26 inches of precision rifled and choked barrel maximizes the time that expanding gas acts on each projectile before it exits the muzzle. Heavy slugs stabilize properly. The 22 cal variant pushes 41 foot-pounds at 1,120 feet per second. The 25 cal generates 45 foot-pounds at 1,020 feet per second. And in 30 cal, the king caliber for this platform, 59 foot-pounds at 760 feet per second. Up to 160 shots per fill on a selective fire platform. That number alone should stop you cold. The folding, telescoping stock with integrated pistol grip and adjustable cheek riser collapses the 51.5-inch overall length for vehicle transport or dense brush navigation. The combo 11mm dovetail and weaver rail sits beneath a removable carrying handle housing adjustable iron sights, ready for glass or running iron depending on the engagement distance. A word of honesty about this rifle, because that is what this channel is built on. Initial fill from empty demands a high-pressure jolt from a carbon fiber SB tank. A slow trickle from a portable compressor will not seat the O-rings correctly, and you will spend 20 minutes chasing air leaks through the barrel. The digital manometer runs an M10 thread pitch rather than the industry standard 8th Beast PP, meaning aftermarket gauge upgrades require a specific adapter, and removing the factory bottle needs a strap wrench and climbing chalk to get adequate grip without slipping. These are real quirks. Own them before you buy. But once this rifle is properly filled, broken in, and in the hands of an operator who understands it, nothing on the 2026 Hatsan catalog competes. Nothing in this price bracket from any manufacturer competes. The Blitz 777 does not just lead this list, it exists in a category of one, the full auto king, crowned. 7 rifles, 7 different answers to the same question. Which one is right for you depends entirely on what you are trying to do. If you are self-reliant, living remote, no compressor, no tank, the Mod 65 combo breaks a barrel and handles business without asking anything from anyone. If you need a ghost, silent, invisible, backyard legal, the Jet R-Key puts 42 perfectly regulated shots downrange without waking the neighbors. If you want modern tactical speed with regulated consistency, the Zylox RG cycles faster than anything else in its price bracket and gives you 55 shots to work with. If you need a fast, compact semi-auto that maneuvers where full-sized rigs cannot, the Repex fits in spaces this hobby forgot existed. If you are hunting heavy game and you need energy that closes the gap between air and center fire, the PileDriver at 300 BR is carrying 800 foot-pounds of the most convincing argument in this sport. If precision is the obsession, if you are chasing single hole groups at 100 yards and you are willing to learn the tuning, the Factor Sniper Long at rank 2 will reward that patience like nothing else on this list. And if you want the most audacious, boundary-shattering, thermodynamically impossible thing Hatsan has ever bolted together, you already know where rank 1 sits. 7 platforms, 1 ecosystem. 0 excuses for buying the wrong one now. Watch your windage. I am out.